Really bad close of the week for Matt Gaetz, but this does provide an opportunity for politicians to show support for him, sort of stand out as someone still loyal to Matt Gaetz, while simultaneously demonstrating to the country that their previous pretend positions about caring about saving children were complete BS. And thus we've got Marjorie Greene, who tweeted out on Steve Bannon's War Room an announcement that she is going to be joining Matt Gaetz for a rally next Friday for her #AmericaFirst rally. As Brett pointed out on the Damage Report this morning, #AmericaFirst, not acceptable for caucuses just yet, but for rallies, I think we can make it work. And so not only is she gonna be doing a rally with the guy that his associate just said had sex for money with a 17-year-old girl, she is also gonna be hitting the road with him for a national America First tour. So that's gonna be fun. But anyway, I just wanted to remind people before we launch into our commentary about this that originally Matt Gaetz had, I guess, 3 allies. He had Jim Jordan, a guy who has his whole past at Ohio State. You have Tucker Carlson, who apparently Cenk is telling me is a new protector of Matt Gaetz on his show, and apparently had dinner with him and some young girl. And now Marjorie Greene, a congressman who had previously said things like this back in November of 2017. Have you guys been following 4chan, Q, any of that stuff? Q is a patriot, we know that for sure. He is someone that very much loves his country and he's on the same page as us and he's very pro-Trump. She also shared an article back then saying must read, Democratic Party involved with child sex, Satanism and the occult. And she also talked at that point about the opportunity, the once in a lifetime opportunity right now to take this global, as she would say, cable of Satan worshiping pedophiles out. And I think we have the opportunity to do it. Oh, she also shared documents about Pizzagate because of course she believed in the Comet Pizza pedophile thing. So really worried about pedophilia and in particular about politicians sleeping with kids until she meets one and the whole thing turns topsy-turvy and now she wants to go on a trip with him.
Yeah, to be fair to Marjorie Taylor Greene, she might have meant Pizzagates.
That's true.
So, Matt Gaetz, Pizzagates, you get confused a little bit. But once she found out, she's like, oh, you're the child sex trafficker. Oh, come on, let's go on a date. Okay, let's go touring around the country. This would be great. So we got Matt Gaetz, obviously you all now know, 17 years old. There's fairly strong evidence. We'll see if he gets charged on it. That not only he had sex with her, he paid for her. When they find out she's 17, they panic and they tell her to wait till she's 18. After she's 18, they go back to having sex with her. Okay, so real class acts, Gaetz and his buddies. But remember, it's not just Matt Gaetz. Jim Jordan is one of the best known conservatives in the House. Let me show you a headline about Jim Jordan. Ex-Ohio State wrestler says, Representative Jim Jordan asked him to deny abuse allegations. What abuse allegations are those? Well, Jim Jordan was a wrestling coach when another member of the staff was alleged to have molested young boys on that team over and over again. An unreal number of allegations. And a huge number of those wrestlers came out many years later and said, yeah, Jim Jordan knew about it and he didn't do anything. We told him, and please do something, and he didn't do anything. That's interesting. So that's number 2. And then let me read you another headline. Judge sentences serial child molester Hastert for 15 months. Now, if you're wondering, wait, who's Hastert? Oh, right, that's Dennis Hastert, Denny Hastert, who was the Speaker of the House for the Republicans. That was before Boehner, that was not very long ago at all, right? So their Speaker of the House was a child molester for the Republicans. One of the most right-wing guys that covered up for a child molester, Matt Gaetz, has slept, apparently, according to these allegations, slept with a 17-year-old, underage. And of course, then there's Donald Trump. Now, what did Donald Trump do? Now, he hung out with Jeffrey Epstein, went to his parties. Jeffrey Epstein, the worst child sex trafficker in American history, as far as we know. Trump has picture after picture, hugging and kissing and hanging out with Epstein. And of course, Republicans are like, yeah, but towards the end, Trump didn't like Epstein as much. Well, towards the end, no one liked Epstein because the people found out who Epstein was, right? And Trump is on the record as saying, oh, Epstein likes the girls young. He knew.
He said it.
Okay, and then wait, it's okay. Epstein died in mysterious circumstances in jail, but they arrested his girlfriend who helped him procure the underage girls, Ghislaine Maxwell. So Trump's asked about it, and he's gonna be furious because, my God, Republicans do not like child sex traffickers. So let's find out what Trump said.
Do you feel that she's going to turn in powerful men? How do you see that working out?
I don't know. I haven't really been following it too much. I just wish her well, frankly. I've met her numerous times over the years, especially since I lived in Palm Beach, and I guess they lived in Palm Beach. But I wish her well.
Wait, what do you mean, I guess they lived in Palm Beach? You just said you met her several times in Palm Beach. And you went to Epstein's house, you went to his parties. You know he lives in Palm Beach, you know she lives in Palm Beach. But look at that, imagine if Biden said, oh yeah, the worst child sex trafficker alive in the country, the co-conspirator of Jeffrey Epstein. I wish her well, man. Oh, I partied with her all the time, I wish her well. And then they say, okay, well, maybe he misheard us, that's insane. But how could he have misheard? He said Palm Beach, it's her, right? So another reporter asked him a second time. So 2 different times, Trump says, oh, I wish her well. I wish her well. So now, maybe Q, and I said this the minute the Gaetz story broke, maybe Q was onto something. He just had the wrong party. Because there is one party in this country that I just proved to you, beyond a shadow of a doubt, is filled with people who are child molesters, child sex traffickers, and supported child sex traffickers. And it's the Republican Party.
And we're not even talking about like sexual assault or misconduct. That is a whole broader category that the Republican Party has been very, very rife with as well, right? Like let's just leave that aside. We're just talking about like kids and people underage. And out of Trump's mouth, saying that that Epstein likes some young, out of Trump's mouth, the guy who would walk into Miss Universe pageants when like young women were changing, out of Trump's mouth. How young are we talking? Like it's just so disgusting. Obviously, we all need to take a shower after this. Like, I just wanna say, is it possible that Matt Gaetz and Marjorie Greene are like, it's such a projection. Are they just gonna turn in to a satanic pedophilia cult of like weird baby eaters? Like, do they become that and then are like, no, we're not. This is not flesh. What do you mean? No, I'm not. What are you talking about?
So
like,
tender.
why is there a diaper next? Like, you know what I mean? Like, it's so in your face that you're like, I'm pretty sure you're the cult. But of course, it is. And in a way, and I know this is not comforting because I watched that Q doc. I think we're all equally very, very frightened by QAnon, as the Republican Party is, right? Folks like Liz Cheney and others are afraid. But I do feel like in a way, don't you feel like they've lost the ideological battle so hard when it comes to whether like they're right wing, like business first, small government, we're not fascist / we're super fascist. Like they've lost the ideological argument that now they're going to these, again, demonic worship, satanic cults, everyone's a pedophile, because it's like the last card in their hand to try and win any kind of political argument. Do you know what I mean?
I mean, if you're not gonna be able to or even try to win over people by acknowledging the struggles they face and offering solutions for them, this is a useful thing to use. And it's not the first time. Back during the 80s, they used the Satanic Panic quite successfully. This is just a digital version of that in some ways. But and by the way, they can have all of the Marjorie Greenes and the Lauren Boeberts running around talking about lasers and talking about kids in pizza basements and stuff like that. There will always be Mitch McConnells who will be getting tax cuts while they're in charge. But the issue, like, just really fast, let's acknowledge, has there ever been a worse movement in terms of actually caring about or doing anything about the thing that supposedly motivates them? That they're totally fine, the Q people, with their Q representative, Marjorie Greene, going on a fun buddy road trip with Matt Gaetz, who's facing these credible accusations of underage sex trafficking. And that is not evidence, nothing convinces them of anything that's a problem, or Jim Jordan, as Cenk pointed out, any of that. And yet, like a month ago, when that ship got caught in the Suez Canal, its call sign was like what the Secret Service used to call Hillary Clinton. And so that convinced people online that the ship was transporting containers full of children. Like, that's evidence. that its call sign is like her thing. But his ally says he had sex with a 17-year-old. That doesn't mean anything. They don't care at all about actual kids.
Facts aren't facts unless you put them together through a subreddit and like drew across like a, like a
it's not
like
Dan
a spelling challenge or whatever. Like it has to be a Sudoku challenge for a fact to actually matter.
Okay, I'm gonna end on this direct quote from Donald Trump. I've known Jeff, that's Jeffrey Epstein. I've known Jeff for 15 years. Terrific guy. He said he's a lot of fun to be with. It is even said that he likes beautiful women as much as I do, and many of them are on the younger side. That is a direct quote from Donald J. Trump. And you're telling me that you're worried about a pizza shop in Washington? You morons! The actual child molesters are on a tour with your favorite congresspeople. And some of your favorite congresspeople are the child molesters. Okay, so there's no hope for them. They have no sanity. They don't live on this planet mentally. They live on a different planet.
Thanks for watching The Young Turks. Really appreciate it. Another way to show support is through YouTube memberships. You'll get to interact with us more. There's live chat emojis, badges. You've got emojis of me, Anna, John, JR. So those are super fun. But you also get playback of our exclusive member-only shows and specials right after they air. So all of that, all you gotta do is click that join button right underneath the video. Thank you.